All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about what you can do and what I think is being signaled from the Senate. Sorry, I was on a plane last night till very, very late, and I didn't have a chance to talk to any of my Senate friends to get more. But I'm just going off of gut on this, and I think it's really important, and I want to share that with you here in a second. First, I want to remind you of the latest National Terrorism Advisory Bulletin. The United States remains in a heightened threat environment, fueled by several factors, including an online environment filled with false and misleading narratives and conspiracy theories. This is so important. How do you define false or misleading narratives? Well, you've just gone through it with COVID. If you are disagreeing with the government, then you are leading a false or misleading narrative, or perhaps even a conspiracy theory. There are all kinds of forms of dis, and malinformation. I still don't know what malinformation is. Would you write that down so I look that up? The actors seek to exacerbate social friction, to sow discord and undermine public trust in government institutions, to encourage unrest, and inspire acts of violence, potentially inspire acts of violence. I want to make it really, really clear. If you are anti-government, I am not with you. If you are burn the whole place down, I am not with you. If you are, well, we got to get attention, we got to do something, I am not with you. In fact, you are an enemy of mine and an enemy of the Republic. Your actions will lose freedom for all time. I want to make that really clear. I also am not trying to undermine any systems. I am trying to tell you what the problem is so you can help fix it. But I guarantee you what I am telling you about the Great Reset, even though I'm using their own words, is going to be called conspiracy theory and dis, or malinformation. And that would make me a threat to the United States of America, one that would have to be stopped. If you think this is crazy, this is exactly what's happening in Canada. They used emergency powers. And I want to go back to that audio we were playing because I didn't get to you yet. The Great Reset is all about leaning on people. It's a ESG, environmental, social justice, and governance score. You might already have one. This is the Chinese social credit score. And the government, businesses, etc., will lean on people who are spreading discord or you're not falling in line. It's now misinformation to be against global warming, climate change. Okay? It's now disinformation. These words are selected for a reason. Never have I've heard climate deniers. I've heard people say, what are we going to do with climate deniers? Maybe we should throw them in jail. Well, now we have a vehicle to throw you in jail because you're spreading misinformation. And that's a threat to the United States of America. So, why did they go after the truckers? There's been no violence. No. It's the potential to inspire. Wait a minute. Hang on just a second. I just think I read something like this. Exacerbate social friction, sow discord, undermine public trust in government institutions to encourage unrest, which could potentially inspire acts of violence. That's why the truckers have now had the Emergency Powers Act enacted against them because they, in Trudeau's words, may inspire violence. We're into future crimes. So they shut it down. But I want you to listen carefully with the understanding of the Great Reset, using insurance companies, using like they did with Remington. That settlement didn't come from the gun company, didn't settle. The gun company doesn't exist anymore. It was broken up into little pieces. It's gone. It has no funds. Who settled it? Not the gun company, the insurance company. And again, what's going to happen to other people's insurance? You're a gun store owner? Call me when you get the call from your insurance company that says your rates are going to skyrocket. Call me when that happens. It's going to happen soon. Call me if they call and say, we can't cover you anymore. It's just too risky. That's how it's going to be done. It's all about cutting people off financially and socially. Now let's play the finance minister and how they're going to deal with these truckers.
As of today, all crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use must register with FinTrack, and they must
that is to make sure that they're not involved in
transactions
any kind of terrorist activities.
We are making these changes because we know that these platforms are being used to support illegal blockades and illegal activity, which is damaging the Canadian economy.
Stop. I want you to know that is going to be the phrase. Inflation is going to melt your eyes by the end of the year. It's going to continue to go up. And the government is going to get more and more vicious with anyone who steps out of line with their Great Reset, Build Back Better plan. And it will be said that they are spreading misinformation, which could inspire violence, or sow discord so people don't trust government institutions and our financial institutions. What she just said is going to be used as an excuse all over the world and here in America. It is posing a threat to our financial system. Continue.
The government is issuing an order with immediate effect under the Emergencies Act, authorizing Canadian financial institutions to temporarily cease providing financial services.
Cut them off.
Where the institution suspects that an account is being used to further the illegal blockades and occupations. This order covers both personal and corporate accounts. As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. We are today serving notice.
Listen.
If your truck is being used in these illegal blockades, your corporate accounts will be frozen. The insurance on your vehicle will be suspended.
Insurance.
Send your semi-trailers home.
You got it? If you don't comply, they will shut you off with the banking community, so you'll have no funds and you'll have no insurance. This is the Great Reset. Now, I'm not surprised because that finance minister that you just heard sits on the board of directors of the Great Reset with the World Economic Forum. There's a direct link there. People are being foolish to think, and I will tell you, I know so many people, dear friends, who will talk to me about this, and they'll go, that's crazy. And then I'll talk to them a couple of days later, and they won't mention anything about it. They're like, I was out on the golf course yesterday. What did you think about what we talked about the other day? Oh, I haven't. It's just, I don't know that much about it, and it's so spooky to even think about. Yeah, it is spooky to think about. You know what's going to be even more spooky? When you can't talk about it. When your business has been taken from you, and this applies to all Americans, you better hope to God you stay in line with everything that the left is telling you to do. Everything. I know a lot of people who were mass crazy when they got to vaccinating your kid under 12. I'm not doing that. You better hope you never get on the other side. Because if you're speaking out about kids that are going to get vaccinated under 12, well, you might be deemed a terrorist, somebody who is going to hurt the financial sector and the financial system and our entire system, because you could incite violence by saying, you're not going after my kid. Wait a minute, I want to know what is happening. What are you teaching my child? You don't have a right to know. You're a terrorist. I think the Republican senators were sending a message yesterday when they walked out of the vote in committee for 3 people that were nominated to the Fed. What was the message? What is the problem? I think they want you to know the problem. They're hoping that people will rise up and say, these people cannot be passed. I could be wrong. But why did they buy extra time? What are they hoping for? I want to tell you who they are being asked to approve to be on the Fed, in the Fed chairs, and why this matters to you. All right. There are a couple of people nominated for the Fed. I believe, and I have reason to believe this is a good guess or a good prognostication, but I can't prove it to you, so don't sell this to your friends as facts. This is something that I believe is happening, that the Fed is not going to wait around for Build Back Better. Build Back Better has to be passed because it has a few extra pieces in it that they need. But inflation is getting away. They need to be able to enact modern monetary theory, which means they need to be able to look at all of your financing and be able to affect how you spend money, et cetera, et cetera. And the Federal Reserve doesn't have the right to do any of this stuff. However, the Fed's top bank regulator, who they've been nominated through Biden, is Sarah Bloom Raskin. She's a former governor of Federal Reserve Board, former deputy secretary, U.S. Department of Treasury. She has been outspoken on what the Fed should be doing. Let me play cut 1, please.
The fact that Sarah Raskin has repeatedly, publicly, and forcefully advocated for the Fed to use its supervisory powers as a way to allocate capital away from carbon-intensive industries, that's more than sufficient reason to oppose her nomination, in my view. But that is not the reason that Republicans are unlikely to provide a quorum this afternoon. The reason we're not providing a quorum is because we can't get straight answers to simple questions. Just as a reminder, Reserve Trust is a fintech company based in Colorado. They applied for a very, very valuable master account at the Fed, and they were turned down. Sarah Raskin went on their board, called the Fed, and months later, the Fed did a 180-degree reversal and granted them what I believe is the only fintech master account in America. We've simply asked questions about how and why did the Fed make a 180-degree reversal? What role did Sarah Raskin play in that? And we are getting stonewalled. It is not acceptable to provide no answers for the committee that is evaluating her fitness to go back on the Fed. And that's the reason that it's unlikely that they'll have a quorum.
Okay, so here's the thing. This is what she has said. All U.S. regulators can and should be looking at their existing powers and consider how they might be brought to bear on an effort to mitigate climate risk. How can regulatory changes relating to disclosure, access to credit, and pricing of risk, support a rapid and just green transition. So access to credit, that's the banks, that's the hedge funds. They're not going to invest in green energy anymore. Pricing risk. You're just too risky. Well, anybody insure this risk? For a rapid and just green transition. And financial regulators must reimagine their own role so they can play their part in the broader reimagining of the economy. When they reimagine the economy, it is not part of capitalism. It is stakeholder capitalism. That's a euphemism. The real word is clinical fascism. Forget about all the guns and the goose steps and the concentration camps. Just the clinical definition of fascism. It is private, public partnerships. The government partners with businesses, and they all agree to help each other along. And if the government disagrees, the government can lean on them or just take them over. They don't own the companies. They give the companies the illusion that they're in charge until they disagree with the government. But they are building that framework now. And these nominees cannot go in because they will bypass Congress and do these things without Build Back Better. They'll do it through the Fed.